the cost of having a credit card that no one is talking about. What up? You got Mr. Smith, point five of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And in this brief video, I want to talk about the cost of a credit card that no one is talking about. Now, when I say the cost of a credit card that no one is talking about, of course, this is for the individual who has a credit card that carries a balance, and in many cases, a balance over 50%. In general, just a larger balance than what we recommend. We honestly recommend single digits, and we're not talking about the annual fees if your credit card has annual fees. What we're talking about is that one thing that people aren't talking about in terms of the credit card and what is truly costing you. And this was a real life experience. This was an aha moment I had in the past where I was like, oh, many people think that they're just paying their monthly bill based on whatever their balance is. And that's true. But if you separate what it is that you are paying with this one number, I think it'll give you a different perspective. Now, you see, a lot of people don't like monthly expenses. Sometimes when I talk to people, and we own a credit restoration company, and, a lot of people wish that they can just pay a flat fee. That's just like one of the things they want to do. And the only way we're able to do it is if we offer it in a program that just so happens to have credit restoration attached to it because of certain things and guidelines that go along with it. Because the reason they're wanting to pay one set fee versus monthly is because sometimes people just don't like monthly expenses. They forget about them. It comes off guard. It just hits you. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. But you have to have that same energy when it comes to your credit card. What do I mean? You see, the monthly fee that's attached to your credit card is also known as the finance charge. So if you look at your credit card bill, you'll see whatever it is that you pay. And then if you look at that finance charge, which is that interest rate, that should give you a new perspective on how to view your credit card. You see, the fact of the matter is, if you're carrying a balance, that's just like an additional monthly fee that you didn't want added on to your already monthly bills. Yeah, I know you knew you was gonna have to pay the credit card, but the finance charge, in many cases, depending on the interest rate, depending on the balance that you're carrying over, can be hundreds of dollars per month. It could be $100, it could be $200, it could be $300. But I'm sure if you knew better, you wouldn't be just paying $300 a month to have a credit card. And many times the credit card spend money on things that you shouldn't be paying for 3 and 4 times, because that's exactly what happens when you incorporate the interest and you stretch it out for how long a person could possibly pay on a credit card. If they kept that credit card and only paid the minimum balance, we did a video where we talked about the credit catastrophe, and a person could be in debt to a credit card for like 30 years if they only pay the minimum balance. And it's like they purchased the items multiple times. And not to mention, most of the time people are using their credit card on things that are low cost, like food, like gas, like, clothes. Sometimes you think, when you think about it, it's like, is it worth being in debt to credit for 30 years just by making a minimum balance, or is it worth paying $200-300 a month in the form of a finance charge just to carry this debt? So I want you to think about your credit card and look at that finance charge and ask yourself, where else could that money be going? You see, when you start thinking from a wealthy mentality, you don't want to just unnecessarily part ways with money. I understand that money isn't everything, but money is a tool, and it should be used as a tool. You should be able to give with it. You should be able to invest with it. You should be able to do certain things that you desire to do using the tool of money. And the last thing you want to do is unnecessarily give away and not be a good steward of your money. And one way to not be a good steward of your money is to overpay in areas that you shouldn't be overpaying in, whether that's taxes, interest, you name it. You don't want to overpay in those areas. And that finance charge is a form of overpayment. Now, I want you to look at your number. And this conversation is between you and you. And I want you to look at your credit card balance if you have one. And I want you to look at the minimum balance. And I want you to see what your monthly finance charge has been for the past 3 months, just so you can get an average. And divide it by 3 for whatever that average is. And whatever that finance charge is, I want you to ask yourself, where could that money be going? Could it go towards some other debt? Could it be going towards saving? Could it be going towards investing? And if you really, really, really think about that, I think you'll start getting serious about knocking out that credit card debt to minimize that finance charge, because that money could be going somewhere else. And if you understand investing, if you understand compound interest, if you understand the rule of 72, then you'll realize that that money that you're paying to that finance charge might very well be money that could have been invested, that could have created some financial freedom for you. And financial freedom is based on your definition. Don't let anybody define your financial freedom, because a lot of times you're closer to financial freedom than you realize. Don't let anyone define your financial freedom. But that money could have made you financially free, possibly even a millionaire, or just very secure financially. And by financial freedom, I mean, if you are currently living off of $50,000 a year, financial freedom for you might just be able to create some type of asset that pays you out more than what your annual income is. So if you had some type of assets that you created that pays you $5,000 a month, that'll give you $60,000 for the year, you're financially free if that's happening passively. But if that money that you're spending on that finance charge continues to go there, then it hinders you from being able to take that money and put it in an asset that can create the financial freedom that you've been seeking all along. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you look at your credit card and the finance charge differently from an angle of, okay, this is money that could be going somewhere else. I have to get serious about paying this card off. I don't care if I got to make multiple payments a month in order to make sure I'm chipping away. Anytime I get some extra money, 50 here, 100 here, 150 here, 200 there, and just knocking it down so you can see the results and minimize the interest that you're having to pay on it, minimize that finance charge. And then once you do minimize it fully, you take that finance charge amount and start putting it towards something that can grow and build wealth, hopefully, or whatever you deem necessary. But the last thing you want to do is be overpaying it to an entity that doesn't have your best interest at heart. So I just leave it at that. That's the cost of a credit card that many people aren't talking about, and that money could be used to build you a fortune. That's all I got. Mr. Smith, signing out.